It's Wednesday, 7 p.m. It's time for Beyond the Headlines with Mandilakhe Tshwete. Today we have CODETA and CATA representatives. First, let me introduce them. Nkululeko Sikyebi in front of me, and we have Mr. Mandilakhe next to me. So we've seen in the last few days that there were a lot of shootings where 9 people were left dead and also about 5 or 6 people were injured. So we are going to unpack what exactly is going on within the taxi industry in the Western Cape. So hopefully we will, I will be their mediator and come up with solutions between them. Mr. Kanye, do you want to start off? What is going on? Okay, disclosure, they did say that, disclaimer, sorry, they did say that they were going to do this tit for tat thing. CATA, please tell us, Mr. Sikyebi, what is going on?
Why you gonna come to me first? Is Putkanyi as my senior, he's supposed to start first. I believe in that way. Putkanyi, you go first.
No, we are not going to play tennis ball here. You are going to tell us what is going on. Yes. What is this fight about? I remember on the 24th of June, there was a peace agreement. And then thereafter, there was a peace summit, or was it on the same day? But I know that there was peace between the two organizations. So what happened? What changed?
Well, I don't know where to start. Do you want us to start back in June, or do you want us to start what is happening currently?
We can start from June because that's where we knew that there was friction. This is after the 2021 war that left many, many people dead.
Yes, yeah, that's correct. Yeah, coming back to your question, if you look in a scenario that is happening now, if from 2021 up to now we are above the 20 years, if I'm not mistaken, if my calculations are correct, whereby there was a court interdict that our fellows CODETA can just drive to drop off the people there and then return. And then there was a big conflict of which I don't want to go into back that one. But starting from June, the June that we're talking about right now, whereby our colleagues called CODETA believed that they've got a right to return their people from Somerset to Mfuleni. And then I remember that at that time, there was already association operating from Somerset to Mfuleni, right? Then when that thing erupted, there was a shooting took place, of which it was suspected that CATA did that, of which we still don't know what that shooting took place, who did that, right? Of which we believe that the police and the investigators can get at the bottom of them and then get it. Moving forward, there was ongoing meetings after the incident took place in June, whereby CATA and CODETA, the regions, both of them sit around the table and discussed the way forward so that the killings and then these dispute routes can get at the bottom of it. The meeting took place. There were a series of meetings, if I can make it short, whereby there was a disagreement and agreement, but the bottom line was to save the people, the commuters, and then to stop the killings, of which we achieved on that process, whereby there was a tool, a MOA that we agreed on, or an operation agreement between the two associations and 2 regions. So that document was signed by the chairperson of both the region, Mr. Munaheng and Mr. Enge, with the president of the associations that are operating from Somerset to Mfuleni and from Somerset to Khayelitsha, whereby there was vehicles that have been identified and marked that they will operate on that route. So there was although the tool that we are using, we send it to government. Government have picked up there are issues that need to first be ironed out because they wanted to give us the operating licenses so that we can move forward with a document that is combining the two associations, how to operate. And then so they can be easily, when the traffic officers stop them, they can see how do we operate. Unfortunately, on the 18th, we had a meeting, 18th or meeting on Monday, whereby we were invited by
the 18th of
August.
July?
Of August.
Oh, okay.
Of August. Yeah, like I said, there were a series of meetings.
Okay.
So if I can detail those meetings, it will drag. I hope you understand.
No, I do.
I just want to take the most important ones in those meetings. So on the 18th, we set both CATA and CODETA region with the government, with the meeting arranged by the government. But as the government arranged the meeting with us, they pointed out that they wanted to do the presentation of a MOA, whereby how to operate. They receive our document, which is the peace. The peace operation agreement. So they brought it, the one with summary, so that how we're gonna operate. Then we agreed as both regions that after the presentation, we need to go sit on the 28th, meaning tomorrow, to browse the document. Okay, we're given the from the 18th up until the 28th. The 28th we will sit as a CATA and CODETA, but we decided that CATA is going to take the document back to their members, meaning the CATA region as a whole. Then CODETA could do the same way to foresee or to look the questions that have been asked on the document, how we must answer them before we finalize the document, or so that the operating licenses can be issued by the government. And then the operation on itself is running smoothly. No hiccups, no back and forth, no closing the doors. No one is saying no, don't load. I would order stuff like that. Unfortunately, on the 20th, which is on Wednesday, we received a call as the head office of CATA that our colleagues, meaning CODETA, went to Somerset and then told the CATA Lwandle to close the van, mustn't load to Khayelitsha. Then they said it's their own place, so they want to operate there. Remember now, we have a meeting scheduled on the 28th. We had a meeting on the 18th that we need to sit together, both parties, where we're gonna nullify or make it one document, then send it back to government. That is where the thing does started to disappear. Make all of this happening now. You understand? Meaning that when I'm meaning that this is happening now, there's a push and pull. This one is pulling on other side, other one is pulling for other side as well. So the killings erupts, and then the taxis, the ranks closed. Then on Monday, the leadership of CATA and CODETA, Mr. Munaheng and Mr. Enge, proposed the meetings via the government, speaking to the government, so that we need to go back where were we, what happened now, because our last meeting we had on the 18th was on the 28th, we'll sit both together, then we move forward. Then on Monday, we had a meeting again, like now, not for the follow-up of the meeting on the 18th, but an emergency meeting requested by the government, because there's killings that is taking place related to that route again, meaning the Somerset, Khayelitsha. Then when we said, unfortunately, the members of Somerset, due to the traffic jam, they were delayed on their way from Somerset to the Century where the meeting was held. So we decided on both regions that we can sit and then discuss while we're still waiting. So fortunately, the CODETA Somerset was present, and then CATA region was there. So, and as well as CODETA region was there. So they unpack what is the root cause, what they believe it's happening there, right? Then we said, okay, let's go to other issues while we're still waiting for the response of CATA Somerset while they're on their way. Then we took a break. When we took a break, we came back around 2:30 or 2 o'clock. I'm not accurate about the time. Then CODETA came back and said, no. We said, okay, the chairpersons, both of them, they're sitting in this, they are the one who are sharing the meeting, meaning Mr. Enge and Mr. Munaheng. They say they were told that, okay, the members of Somerset, CATA Lwandle are present now. Can we proceed? Where were we? So that we can hear their side. unfortunately, it didn't go that way. The word that came to CODETA was they will not proceed to what we agreed earlier on, that the CATA guys, meaning from CATA Lwandle, must tell their side of the story so that we can ask why it's happening like this, because why now there's a killing, there's a closing of rank by certain members, there's an intimidation in between. So all in all, that's where we are when it comes to that, because they decided that they're not going to proceed to the meeting. And remember, it's their right not to proceed to the meeting, as well as our right as CATA to say we want to have a meeting to proceed, as well as the right of the government to say, okay, I want you to be there. I want you to get resolved with it. But the bottom line, the CATA side still want to proceed with the meeting, so we want to get resolved of this. So.
Okay. Sorry, we're going to come back to you. I just want to hear from the CODETA side, because you are taking over now.
No, not taking over, man.
No, but I hear what you're saying there,
Yes.
but we are going to come back to that, because we also need to unpack the operational plan that you had. We need to understand how it's going to work, or how it's working also from Fuleni's side.
Right.
So, Mr. Kanye, from the CODETA side, what is going on?
Sisi, I'm not going to be long. First of all, I think Mr. Skyebi said it all because he was present to those particular meetings, which I was not present to those meetings. But as far as I know, I believe that there were agreement that was made from both CATA and CODETA, which I think it was good for our members as well, so that we can stop this senseless killing, because really, while we are doing those things, the life of the people are very important. I believe that there was agreement that was made from both sides, CATA and CODETA, which I thought maybe it was a good idea for them to sit down and discuss the whole issue of Somerset, because I believe the violence is coming from Somerset. We cannot run away from the fact that really whatever is happening is from Somerset route, which there is operation conflict between those Somerset CATA members as well as CODETA members. So yeah, for my side, I think if we can use those agreements that we have from CATA, both CATA and CODETA, maybe we can stop this killing, because really I know CATA and CODETA, they are the only one who can stop this senseless killing, if they can come up with the agreement. So I'm not going to be long, because I believe that there were meetings that took place to try to resolve whatever that is happening in those particular places, which we are happy if that the life of the commuters and passengers are going to be saved, because it depends on the leaders. Those are the leaders which I think they can come up with a solution, so that at the end of the day they need to sit down so that to stop this killing, especially now, at the end of the day, the passengers also are affected. Now, I also believe that some of the drivers were shot. You must understand the drivers are not the taxi operators. They are only drivers. They are there to help us so that at least they can put a food on the table for their families.
Okay, so my understanding is that there is a route between Khayelitsha, or from Khayelitsha to Somerset West. And this route is for CODETA to just drop off and then return with no passengers.
Yes.
That has been, for years, it's been operating like that. So what has changed between then and the 20th of August?
As I said, when Mandilakhe, I was not part and parcel of those meetings in the first place. But I believe that ever since this conflict started, there were meetings between CATA and CODETA and try to resolve those issues. I believe that there were also 15 vehicles that was allocated from CATA and CODETA to do the gap issue about this Khayelitsha and Somerset. I believe the gap issue, they say, okay, right, the gap issue worked, but now the only problem that they have is that it was a price. The price, and they say they are complaining about CATA guys who are not taking the people from Somerset to their areas, they only drop off from Somerset Rank, not in Khayelitsha. As the people are working there, they must go to Khayelitsha. So they say there is a problem about that. I'm not sure if Mr. Chebi know about it, but there's only that problem that I had.
So what would be the problem, Skebi, if CATA then decides, okay, we're not going to drop off at the taxi rank, we're going to drive in Khayelitsha? Is that not a problem for CODETA then, because they do they have operating licenses to drop off passengers? Let's say passengers that don't live in Makaza, but this one lives maybe Mandela Park or something. So is there maybe an operating license issue there?
Yeah, coming to that, this question you're asking, Mandilakhe, it's broader. It's not only about it, it's an operating license going straight to Khayelitsha or covering the whole area, right? The license might end at a taxi rank in Somerset, but with the agreement between both other regions, we agreed that they can operate there as the government was intervening, so that those operations must be ended, must be extend the route from Somerset if the operating license is ending at Somerset, and I mean at Makaza, must be allowed to drive the whole of Khayelitsha. Secondly, the issue of the pricing that Mr. Kanye alluded, yes, it is one of the problems that have been experienced and alluded, leading to this discomfort, of which I believe it was supposed to be taken to the committee or to CATA and CODETA operational agreement, so that it can be revisited if it's an issue. The reason why I say it can be revisited as an issue, the agreement that we took when it comes to the pricing from 23 Rand to 30 Rand was to combine these 15 vans to make it 30, so that they can deliver all around Khayelitsha, right? But what's happening now, since Mr. Khan has alluded the fact that the 30 Rand is becoming an issue because CATA guys didn't want to drive all around Khayelitsha. The reason why is simply the CODETA vans, when they drove to Khayelitsha, they know the drivers driving locally there in Khayelitsha. They speak to each other, so that they can offload can give certain people going to Harare or going to Macau or to sightsee. So they can just give to other vendors, or they can share those people. So it can take he can deliver from Makassar to site B, and then he return back to Somerset. While the CATA vans, they drive from Somerset to site C, to site B, to Harare, to A, to B, all around. If you look, that van now is not gonna make time to go back to reload again. If you look at it, then now the CODETA van, it just drop over the last delivery is at site B. Like I said, the other people said to the local vans of CODETA. Now that van, when it comes back again. He meet on the way. They say that van he left at the same time at the stand in Makassar, in Somerset. They are returning now again at another load, while that van is still going to pick up. That's where that's why the conflict started. Even the pricing now, we believe that when we said with them, say what they both associations, CATA and the CATA and CODETA Somerset, they've changed the price. We dealt with them internally. They changed the price, CODETA. Who said CODETA to 23 Rand? Although the agreement say 30 Rand. That's one of other conflict that is happening there. Without the knowledge of the CATA region and CODETA region and the primary association of CATA region, they changed the price to 23 Rand. Remember now, there's a 23 Rand and 30 Rand. Definitely, so it's going to cause a conflict starting from the commuters, without the knowledge of these mother bodies, which is CATA and CODETA, without their awareness. But it's happening now. Somerset guys, they felt no, it's not right, because now we are paying 23 Rand, but you have to drive all around Khayelitsha. at the price of 23 rand. We are not, CATA is not disputing the fact of 23 rand. It's all right if it's all right if we sit and then we discard around it. If the price of 30 rand was incorrect, then it was a temporary for 3 months. We could have revisited that 30 rand. Guys, this 30 rand doesn't work for our commuters as well, to our drivers, as to our vans. Let's work around the clock to resolve this issue of 30 rand, not to stop the vans to operate or not to continue with the 30 rand. Although, what was the use of these two mother bodies to come with the suggestion of the price of 30 rand if that price going to be overtaken or going to be changed? Right. So those are the issues that are leading to this. As a result, when we sat on Monday, on the 18th, that issue was raised, and when we spoke about it, I said, okay, CATA Luanda is complaining about when they arrive in Khayelitsha, in Makaza, there's this issue of vans are changing, and then we said they must form the committee, like these two associations. They must have an agreement, like some sort of a work relationship, not an agreement. When they arrive there, they must stop it. They must they have a common certain point whereby they share the people equally, so they can deliver equally. If one is going to Harare, one is going to side B, so you must take all the Harare guys. And then who's taking the people from side B, going the Lansdowne road, he must go that road. So other one must go the Bed and Powell Drive, doing all the deliveries on that side. So now they are sharing the loads. You understand it? Those are the things that we said they must try and implement. They must try to work that way. Saying that by the 28th, the issue of 23 rand and 30 rand is gonna be ironed out. You understand? Then we asked them, who said we must change the price to 20 to 30 rand? But the answer was they never gave us the answer. But we said we must work according to that agreement up until we notice that this is wrong, and then we sit again, we resolve that issue. I think I've tried to cover everything you wanted to ask. Not unless there's something you
Yeah, okay. I think, as I said when I tried to, I was not part and parcel of those meetings in the first place. And as Mr. Stevie have said, I also believe that when we have a meeting and we have a sort of agreement, I think we need to stick to that agreement. If maybe there's something that need to be changed, we need to sit down as a team, then we can just change. Because as far as I know, the 30 rand issue that they are complaining about, because it is a 30 rand that they are complaining about, and say that the CATA members from Luandle or from Somerset, they took the people from Luandle to, not from Luandle to Somerset to Khayelitsha, and they drop off to the taxi rank at Makaza, whereas they don't even give the money to take another taxi to go to where they're supposed to go. And they also said, according to their agreement, is that when you come from Somerset, you must go around Khayelitsha. And I like the fact what Mr. Chebi have said. They're supposed to form the working committee from both sides, which is going to look for the passenger. We cannot run away from the fact that at the end of the day, whatever we do, the passenger are the first priority from the taxis. They must make sure that they are safe each and every day. I think those committees, you can see CATA and CODETA not fight each other, but there's only a small problem which I think they need to resolve. That's all.
It's quite interesting that you're saying that passenger safety, but hearing from all of these problems, it seems like the commuters are the last thing, on your minds. And I'm not necessarily talking about you two, but I'm just saying, the associations, it doesn't seem like commuter safety is a concern, because there's a 30 rand that was just sprung up on them, where they consulted. Do you consult? Do you suggest? I'm not saying that you necessarily have to go with what they say, but at least maybe just consult with them and say, look, this is the problem. We can no longer just drive around Khayelitsha. So can we then suggest that you add an extra 7 rand so that we can cover our own costs, because this to us, And is that something that you could possibly think or consider for in the future, where you include, or maybe part of a structure, you have somebody that is looking out for the interest of commuters.
All right. Can you go first or want to answer that one?
Go first.
Mr. Kanye.
Can you answer? Okay. I think there is a structure each and every region, whether it's CATA, CODETA association, primary association, whereby when the price increase, there's always before the date of the increase of the price, the papers have been shared all around. Normally, it's always be done by the primary associations, but now in this instance, it was some sort of a trial, some sort of a quick fix, forgetting the bigger picture, which is the commuters, the big customer here, which is the commuters. I think the thing that was happening, I don't want to say the most important thing, the thing that was supposed to be happening, we were supposed to, okay, for now, let's continue with the 23 rand up until from the 24th of June up to the 30th of June. Then after 30th of June, the notice was already printed, put on the vehicles, the 15 vehicles that are operating that side, or even the local vehicles that are operating in Lwandle, and also the vans that are operating in Khayelitsha, so that the customers can be aware that the price is going to increase from 23 rand to 30 rand. But because of the nature of the taxi industry and the nature of the things that are happening, if you want to stop violence now, or if you want to stop something, you need to act quick, not thinking at the bigger picture. Sometimes you need to take the responsibility and be accountable. Both parties, CATA and CODETA, on that note, they failed. We both failed to consider our customers, which is the commuters, or which is that is the part I believe if that is the part led to this violence, then we failed as an industry. We were supposed to go the right way to address it to our commuters, from our commuters and then apply the price. But like I said, that too, it was temporal for 3 months, but that was most important part, to make sure that our commuters are aware of a 30 rand issue. Sometimes we need to take accountable of something, that when the thing didn't go the way you planned, or you miss something, you must agree. No, like we always been labeled as an industry. They always say, they don't want to admit, you understand it? But when we done wrong, we need to admit now we're doing wrong, we have done wrong there, or we have be accountable for our mistake that we've done.
I don't hear an apology there.
When you take an accountability, it doesn't mean you don't apologize. We take a full responsibility for both regions. If you said that we failed there, apology is one thing. When I apologize,
we are never gonna get that.
No. But like, don't get me wrong. The apology is simple. Say sorry. We apologize to our commuter. But if I say from the word go, I apologize for the issue of 23 rand and 30 rand, you're not gonna know what is behind that.
Yeah,
I'm cutting you off, but you need to know why this thing has happened.
Yes.
We were trying to do the quick fix, leaving behind the potholes. I mean the open holes, not the potholes. You see now, Cape Town there's a lot of potholes now. I'm talking about the potholes.
Mr. Kanye.
I was going to say the same thing that Mr. Skebe has said. We owe the community apology as a taxi industry, because really we are supposed to inform as to why the price was increased, because at the end of the day we depend to them and they need to know whatever it is happening to our taxi industry. But as Mr. Kebe has already said, that they apologize, that I think in the near future, whenever they have a meeting, but they need to report back to the community leader so that they can be able to understand what is going to happen. I know they're going to take that to their passengers as well.
Okay, so now let's talk about...
Okay, Mandilakhe, is our apology accepted by you?
On behalf of the commuters,
yes.
We do not accept your apology. So now can we go to the operational agreement that you had between, because what I'm understanding is that the agreement that you had was just between Mfuleni and Somerset, and it does not apply with the Khayelitsha route. So what is happening with that? And you said you were going to review So this, you reviewing, was that the Mfuleni or was that now the Kailicha? Or Kailicha was not even part of this?
You asking me or you asking us?
Oh, sorry.
Look, Mandilakhe, I think now the issue, it was Somerset Kailicha and Somerset Mfuleni, as far as I know, they do have an operational right to take people from Mfuleni to Somerset with return, because they do have a permit, they do have operating license as well. So I believe that they have a full right to do that, but also we need intervention from the government, because it's been a while they failed us, or they failed Mfuleni, because they've already said they are going to identify the place where they are going to do a return in Somerset. We are waited. They never came back to us. I think the only people that failed us, it is also a government. They have an operation right to come from Mfuleni to Somerset, because they do have operating license.
Okay.
Right. For me, okay, you're coming to me. No, I agree with Burkanye. It is quite right. The issue of Mfuleni, it was also on the operational document that Mfuleni can load their people in the morning and return in Somerset. That was in the operational agreement. The Kailicha issue was added on because if you look at that in Somerset, there are routes that are operating there, meaning from Delft to Somerset, from Kailicha to Somerset, from Mfuleni to Somerset, right? So those routes were covered, but most especially the Somerset route to Mfuleni to Kailicha was also covered. That's why I hear you talking about the Mfuleni only. We spoke about Mfuleni, and then we agreed on the agreement that Mfuleni is gonna. The proposal from CODETA was they want to operate that route alone from Mfuleni, because they got an operating license, of which we respect that. Then secondly, the CATA Lwandle can operate gap system between Kailicha and Somerset, with 15 vehicles from CATA and 15 vehicles from CODETA, whereby now they are loading from Somerset to Kailicha and delivering and return back. So those routes were covered on the peace operation agreement that we drafted temporarily up until now. So we covered both of those routes.
What is wrong with sharing a route? Is there maybe, because I mean, what's that route? B57?
P97.
B97. B57.
B97. Sorry, it's been 2-3 years now, 4 years. I mean, that took a very long time, you know, and a lot of bodies collected and a lot of meetings and government to actually intervene for you to come to that agreement. So what is wrong with sharing the route? Like, maybe I'm just asking as a person that has never been in the taxi industry, but what is wrong with that?
No, I believe that there is nothing wrong to do that, as long as those are two mother bodies sit together and have their sort of agreement, because we always manage to do that, CATA and CODETA. But the only problem that we have, it is a government who is failing the taxi industry. I will repeat that. It is a government, because at the end of the day, they are the government who are failing the taxi industry. You cannot, where there is existing operation, and grant another permit for the new members. That is the only problem that we are facing. Okay. That's the only problem.
Yeah, I think Burkanye, I didn't want to, like in most cases as an industry, we always identified as no, they run away, they are fighting there, but they're pointing fingers to the government. I didn't want to touch the issue of government, because when you touch the issue of government, they say no, they don't know the results there. I think they always say it's government. Of course, government play a big role when the incidents like this. Same that happening in Mfuleni. You grant someone an operating license while there's an existing association there. You don't grant that existing operation, that existing association, the operating license. You grant the other one so that they can fight. You cannot build a house on top of it, on top of each other. That's what is happening. So those things, they are the ones that are leading to a violence. If they before they grant the operating license for the certain route or for the certain area, engage the mother bodies, hear from their side, because nothing for the taxi industry out there. Everything, the decision that they have taken as a government, they need to engage us. They're gonna issue the operating license onto that. You understand? So even the P97 is still a problem as we speak. It's not resolved, that issue. The P97 issue is still going on and on and on and on and on. So meaning that the government, when it comes to operating licenses and stuff like that, is messing around with the people's lives. Because I'm not attacking the government. I'm just speaking out because the issue of P97 is still also the one is also one day. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's still of the issues that are on the top list of CATA and CODETA that we need to resolve there. That resolution was taken there is still not properly applied. It can be word of mouth say it's properly applied, but not because P97. I'm not running away from the issue of Somerset to Khayelitsha. P97, they still got an arrow buses are operating there, but those buses were not operating. You tell me now, you give an operating license to CATA and CODETA, they must say that and operate. You say you implemented a temporary operation from Golden Arrow, while these two associations are seeing differences. You give them the right to operate back to give them to operate their route, but you don't remove the P97. The buses, the Golden Arrow. Instead, you increase the number of buses that are operating in P97. What message are you sending? You give the people the operating licenses, you still deprive other associations not to operate locally. Don't you think you're inflating the fight there, or inflating the violence amongst the taxi industry? Those are the issues that are happening. Those are the issues that we're still going to face as the industry, not the issue of Somerset. I'm just touched by the response of Mr. Kanye, because he's touching the most important part, because the government always does that. Even in Somerset, he did the same thing.
Okay, fine. Just on that. Okay, so we saw a statement this morning that came from the Western Cape government that said that they are taking both associations to court to resolve this. And also because I'm sure they do know what is going on, because you have these meetings with the task team, right? There is the task team.
Of course.
So are these issues not raised there? Does it always have to have government or the Western Cape government going to court for the associations to say, okay, fine, guns down, come, let's hug each other?
For me, Mandilakhe, it is their democratic right to do so.
Yes.
If they want to do that, I think it is their democratic right to do so. But at the end of the day, they must understand that they are the only custodian that they're supposed to intervene when this is taking place. It's not necessary for them to go to the court, because we are here as the members of CATA and CODETA. They need to sit down with us and try to solve this problem, not to resolve the problem. They can't even ask a question, what is going on, because they know everything, each and every day. They are well informed. Now, I'm surprised if they are going to take us into court, but they are here as a government. Why they don't come to us and just sit down and say, guys, this is what is going to happen. This is what is not going to happen, because they are the government.
Steve?
Right. The indict that government is drawing. I said it earlier on during the day, because I heard that question. I was asked about the government taking us to court. I've said it's their full right to do so, and also everyone in South Africa has got a right He's got a right to do as long as doing the legitimate thing. So the government, if they believe they must take us to court, they can take us to court, or they can do the what they call the court interdict against the taxi industry. But the solution will always come here on the industry. There's one thing we know: industry will always, taxi industry, CATA and CODETA will always come up with the solutions, whichever way. Whether it's because of the way we're doing things, and then we're paying. If the stigma of being labeled as this unruly, or this what is this name they always label directed to us? The thugs, the thugs, all those
taxi mafias,
the taxi mafias, the lowliness industry. Those words, they play a big role. The taxi bosses, those names, they don't build the industry; they destroy industry. So, if the government is practicing that, in a sense, to take the industry away from us, then they're using the wrong tool.
Okay, we've got Gideon Tafarai. It's a free market. You can't dictate pricing or fix pricing. There is a thing called anti-competitive behavior. A bunch of thugs, these taxi associations. We just addressed the thugs thing. So they're saying that it is a free market. I remember when Uber and Bolt and all of those came in, there was a huge fight. You know, we saw a lot of them being injured and some of them being killed. So it is a free market. How free is this market, and is anyone just welcome to just join?
Mandilakhe, I think there's a process that we need to follow if you want to become a taxi industry. There is a process that needs to be followed. You cannot just say, yes, I'm going to buy a taxi and I'm going to join the taxi industry. No. Whether you want to go to CATA and CODETA, but there is a procedure that you must follow. Coming to the point of Uber, where does the A point of Uber is? Where does the B point is? There's no B point, there's no A point. And you don't know even where the company is coming from. You, as Mr. Tshwete said, you cannot build a house on top of other house, because this is what the government say. At the end of the day, they're going to say, this is a free country. You can do whatever you want. You cannot do that. You cannot do that, because there is a procedure that you need to follow if you want to come the taxi industry. So.
Okay, the Uber issue, it's killing our industry, Mandilakhe. You're gonna say how? There are ranks that are built in the malls, which are not built in front of ShopRite or KFC or whatever. The ranks are always behind the mall. The advantage of Uber, they stand right in front of ShopRite or whatever shop they went to in the mall. Do you think the taxi is standing behind the mall, waiting for the people to come out at ShopRite? It's raining. The commuter got a ride to maybe 2 to 3 kilometers, to 5 meters, or to 10 meters, or 20 meters, or 100 meters to the taxi rank that is waiting for them there, the taxi. Although the Uber is just standing right in front of the entrance of the shop. That is what the government is doing, taking away the business from the taxi industry, which is I don't believe that for the sake of I've got an operating license to operate there in that mall, you bring the Uber so that it can compete with us. That Uber is a part and parcel of wanted to destroy the industry. It's not because they are competing with us. No, they are not competing with the industry. It's a plan of destroying the taxi industry. Because we believe, it's their right to join Uber so they can transport the people. It's fair. But their rights are killing the taxi industry rights. We understand it. We also got to have a right to protect what we believe is for us, which is the taxi industry. each and every company, whether it's a company, whether it's a public sector or private sector or a co-op, whatever you call it, they've got you can see there's a restriction, right of admission has been reserved, no hawkers, no what. Why can't there's an industry can't write there, no hawkers, no what, no Uber allowed in this area? When we write that and then we say, look there, what they're doing now, they say no Ubers, no what. But the other areas, they told no taxis must stand in front of this, but the Ubers, they stand in front of that. What is the Uber doing? Are not doing the same thing that we're doing, transporting the people. They're doing the same thing. They're taking the work away from us.
So would it have been better if Uber came in the way you remember when we were both at my city meetings, where my city would come to the industry and say, this is our proposal, this is how it benefits you, let us buy out some of your taxes, here's the money, and then be part of this Uber, and then we can then share the route. Would that have been better?
For me, it will be impossible, Mandilakhe, because we don't even know where does the Uber come from. You understand? And also government is always talking about the route invasion, which means they don't say the same thing about Uber, because we really don't know where the Uber is coming from. First of all, in your permit, you must understand that there is a condition that you must have A point and B point. Now you ask, where is the B point, where is the A point for Uber? And even now, you as a taxi industry, I mean, we have a limit in our rank. So if, let's say, for instance, on my site, you need to buy 12 taxis, but there is no space from the government of 12 taxis. Now, if you need a permit for that 12 taxis, you must struggle to get a permit. But now you ask a question, where does Uber get all this permit? Because I believe if you are operating in Uber, you do have a permit. Why those rights from Uber is not happening to the taxi industry? That is a question that I'm asking. I'm not asking from you, but I'm asking for the government. Why they don't give the same right from Uber for the taxi industry?
Okay, let's go back to, Xolile Marimani, a very important discussion for commuters, how I wish that they were watching. Thank you for watching. And then we've got Mlondolozi Mbolo. I'm going to translate this because it is in isiXhosa. So he's saying that he escaped from Strand because he was driving a car that is a number plate that is CF, and so he was asked why he was there, because Mfuleni people killing them. Did I translate it right?
Yeah.
I mean, yes. But
I think at some point, Mandilakhe, the element of criminality always creeps in when the violence erupts out of differences occurred between the taxi industry as a whole. Sometimes you'll find out that the person, the registration number, or the people that have said those words, those type of things, are the people that are scaring those people. Not is coming from the taxi industry. I'm not disputing as an industry, but I'm just noting you that there could be a criminality element that can lead to these threats, and as well as the killings. We all know people always capitalize when there's an industry. There's no peace in the industry. There's a lot of things that are happening. They say no, it's the industry. It's the industry. Although it's no longer an industry. Some threats like that and something like that. But we're not saying we dispute. We're running away from them. We'll have to take a full responsibility, because this thing is been happening because of CATA and CODETA started this. So people now are starting to capitalize about that issue.
Speaking of that, we have an issue in most townships that is called extortion. And in many cases, you will hear that, oh no, like especially when there's like mass shootings or whatsoever, you'll hear that there was a taxi that was involved, and then there was an article that came out a few weeks ago that said that the taxi industry admits that they do have extortionists, something like that. I'm not 100% sure because I didn't read the article, but I just saw the headline. So now there are would you say that you do have criminals because you don't vet your drivers?
Of course.
You know, recently Lolita Kowa was raped and murdered, and one of the accused was a taxi driver for CODETA. So why do you not vet, and what would it take for you? Because, I mean, people do get hurt, and then it all comes back to CODETA, it comes back to CATA.
Yes. Remember, it's never been easy to screen everybody. Sometimes you get someone when someone is going for the driver's license. There's a call that fingerprints that we must send to Pretoria to foresee that this person was ever involved in the criminal acts. So if he was involved in the criminal acts, those fingerprints will always decline his PDP, which is public driving license. So we believe that when the driver got a PDP, has been scanned by the law authorities to be granted the driver's license. It is something that we have to look at it, but with the assistance of the government, so that the drivers can be trained or the people can be scanned before they get to the industry, because there is no time for us. We believe that the driver's license is the tool that is being used by the government or by the state, so that to foresee the criminality against this person, or there's a charges lying against him, so he can be prevented to get a driver's license. We understand it. So that is where we think it's supposed to be a partnership between the taxi industry and the government to screen to try to avoid these type of things that are happening. Remember, we don't know the background of the driver. You don't know the background of the owner. You come to the industry, you don't know how you grew up, or how you've been raised, your uprising, or what your challenges did you face in life. But you are here now, you say you can drive, you drive. Remember, the drivers, the first 3 months or 6 months, they will drive for you perfect, doing everything right. And then you believe that, no, this guy is doing right. All of a sudden, boom, throw the big shock. One thing, this guy's involved in this guy's involved into that. That's where you find out now, no, he's been out of this and out of that. You understand it? That is one thing we need to look at it with the assistance of the government.
Yeah, we cannot run away from the fact that, Mandilakhe, there is a problem really to our drivers as well, because really, and also we don't justify the abusive of our passengers, especially for the women. As you are talking about the rape, all those things, really, we are facing those cases each and every day, and it is happening to our taxis. As Mr. Tshwete said that, I mean, we cannot do this alone. We need the government intervention. The training is very important to train our drivers. As you understand that, the taxi industry was calling this long time ago. We need a subsidy. I think if we can have a subsidy as a taxi industry, then we can overcome all those problems that are coming from the commuters and other people, whatever you may call it. Yeah.
Okay.
Mandilakhe, changing the mentality of the people first. That's one thing we need to work on as an industry, because we have done a lot. There's a lot of things that the industry have done wrong. That is why you find people, when it comes to the industry, they don't support us. It's our fault. Looking at the situation now, Mandilakhe, where there's a widows, looking at the children that have lost their fathers, their breadwinners. The children, when they see that, they see CATA taxi, they see CODETA taxi, they said, there's that CODETA sticker that killed my father. There's that CATA sticker killed my father. Now I don't have a father. So those things are eating us. How can we change that mentality? How can we work onto that so that this violence, these killings can come to an end? Because it's not only CATA is suffering, only CODETA is suffering. There are children there, there are wives, there are families there that they lost everything. They only rely on that person today or tomorrow gonna bury them. CODETA is gonna bury those bodies, those humans, leaving them whatever amount they can. But does the amount CODETA leave on that family cover the whole lifespan of those kids? No, it does not. It left those kids that my dad, my mother was killed by CODETA taxi. The taxi that dad was used to work for driving taxi for a CODETA, or dad was the owner of the taxi.
Mandilakhe, yeah, I was so touched by what Mr. Tshwete have said. Really, it is very sad. Very sad. You go to our rank, you will see that there is a lot of widowers. The children today, they are suffering. Some of them, they are street kids. We call them street kids because they don't have father, because of our mistake that we have done. We cannot run away from the fact that we are the problem. And I'm happy that the leaders that are leading those organizations, they can sit down and make sure that how are they going to change the industry, because at the end of the day, we need a transformation from the taxi industry. We need that very urgent, because really, I know most of the time, CATA and CODETA, they are the leaders who are always capable to change those things. I'm so touched with what Mr. Tshwete said, because really, it is very, very, very sad. This is something that I think we need to resolve very, very quick, and I know we can do that.
Let's just see what Janine Peterson says here. But it's not right that a commuter can't spend their money like they want to. Like if someone is in hospital and you want to visit them maybe at 7, you can call an Uber after 8. In a taxi, they overcrowded and they make you sit on what they call a laptop. It's not right. It is very uncomfortable sitting in a taxi. You know, if there's one thing that I learned during that horrific COVID period, lockdown, whatever, I don't want someone here, you know. I mean, give it space. There's no space in taxis, you know. And then you find some other taxis, people are smoking in these taxis, you know, like there isn't really much freedom. Like when you go into an Uber, you have your own space. You can even ask, you know, the driver to play music, you know, for you. It's clean, it smells nice, you know, there's no one that's going to swear at you, hey, well, now, tangolam, you know, things like that, you know. So why do you have to control us with the comfort that we choose and also with what we want to take? Because you are not going to be there after 8. For instance, in my area, we don't have taxis. I am suffering, guys, you know, so maybe we can speak to government to give you OLs for that side. But, you know, like, I have no choice but to use Uber. Now, I'm lucky because y'all are not there. But there are people that are not that lucky, you know, that are so scared. Like you take an Uber and you say you're going to Guguletu. They will interrogate you, where in Guguletu. Eerste Rivier is also the same thing. You know, you can't just take an Uber in Eerste Rivier, especially at the mall. You know, you have to go outside the mall for you to get an Uber. Why do you control us with our money?
Okay. Can I get
Okay, sure.
Okay, let me start. The issue of Uber, it's broad, Mandilakhe. You're going to ask me why I'm saying like that. There are certain times that the taxis are operating. There are times that, let's say, from 4 o'clock in the morning up until the latest 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. Then we believe Uber from 9 o'clock up to 3 o'clock, they can drive the people as much as they can. Yes. So immediately they operating during our operating time. They invading our routes. When they operate during our operating hours, they are invading our route. After hours, because the taxi is only made to operate, or not made, they are operating normally from 4 o'clock in the morning up to maybe 7 o'clock. So after those hours, then Uber we believe they are free to ride it because it's a safety offer. Because you cannot go to it. There are no people are knocking off at. I can't finish my statement. You see now.
That is bullyism at its best. Y'all are bullies.
No, but it is not, Mandilakhe. You must understand that, first of all, you've already mentioned that why can't we, as a taxi industry, accommodate Uber as we have done to my city? Exactly. Lucky you were there and I was there. And those people, especially those Uber operators, what they're supposed to do, they're supposed to approach the taxi industry in the first place. Okay, guys, this is what we want to do. Then maybe we can have agreement with them, but the system alone from Uber is killing the taxi industry, because really, first of all, we don't know how it was formed and which company does the Uber come from. You understand? We were not involved, we were not informed, but we just heard that there is a Uber that is going to take place. I mean, the government is always complaining about you cannot operate where there is existing operation. But now this is what is happening. You cannot say this today and tomorrow you say something else.
Okay, Mr. CKB, you're touching a very sensitive matter,
Yes, ma'am,
very,
yes,
very sad.
yes,
And I think it's the widowers you were talking about. Thank you, Linomta, for your comment. You know, there's another concern that I want to raise here, and I don't know if you do talk about this when you're having these meetings. Whenever there's a protection, whenever there is a new development, we have now, and I know that this is going to be another route that is going to be formed illegally, and then there's going to be huge fights. There's the Amazon, you know, there's a mall there, Riverlands, where you approached, okay, because there are workers there that go to Kailicha and all of that.
Exactly.
And so how do they get home? Because you can't always Uber. Uber is expensive. So now the thing is, where you approach, or are you ever approached whenever there's a development to say that, okay, we are definitely going to need transport, you know, to be involved in this, so that, I mean, all these associations, Santaco, if maybe not individual associations, are you ever, you know, involved in those processes?
No, we never been involved in those processes when there's a new development in certain area. What normally happens, in most cases, we as an industry, we don't just wake up today and say, today we're going to load the people. Then no, we don't do that. I believe Mr. Kanye also, he can attest to that. It's only the commuters determining where they want to get off, where they are going to. They will come to the taxi rank, the business owners taxi. We need a taxi from here to Amazon. Remember, they come in group. We are the amount of 8 people. Tomorrow, they increase to 11, 12. Now, as an industry, we didn't go and look for that area. The people from Kailita, people from Nyanga, determined where they want to be dropped off. They determined where their destinations are. Then now, the government, when they establishing the certain mall, it didn't engage the industry, so that when they engage the industry, there's going to be a new development in Amazon. So we need to force the area, the people that are going to operate there, the people that are going to work there are coming in these around locations from Nyanga to Kailita, or from Kraaifontein, or from Saldanha, whereby they know in Saldanha is CODETA, they know in Krabo is CODETA, they know in Luandle is CATA. So if they can consider that when there's a new development, consider mother bodies and then to foresee who is nearby allocated. If the new development is involving both regions, CATA and CODETA, or other regions as well, they need those regions operating allocated in that area to be informed. There's going to be a new development. So they're going to be a catering. We need to cater for those people that are working there, the workers there, so that these mother bodies or these regions, they can have a share on that area. CATA may have 5 vans, or CODETA must have 5 northern regions, whatever regions that are nearby on that area. You understand it? But those things that don't happen, they are not happening. All you see the following day, remember, there might be no bus going there. There might be no train going there because it's a new development. Now you find the traffic officers staging them, making the money out of these people, saying now you are breaking the condition, the operating rules of your driver's of your operating license by driving in this area. So those are the things that we are we are facing each and every day. We know you don't have to stop on the freeway when you go to town. But the customer, I want to get off here, driver. I'm going to Vicente Park Road. There's no drop off areas when you go to N2 to go to Vicente Park Road, going to Vicente Park Road Hospital. But you find the traffic impounding the van because it's not allowed the taxi to drop off the people there.
Well, they're right to do so. Why do you listen to commuters when you know the rules? The commuter doesn't know. So the commuter cannot be blamed for you stopping there. You stop there, you're saying that you're doing this for the commuter,
yes,
but you know the rules because when you signed or when you got the operating license, you knew where to stop and you knew that there's no stop there.
I agree with you. Those are the challenges that we're facing because tomorrow, the commuters, they say, we don't want to ride the taxis or they don't want to stop there. They just nearby, the development is just nearby the N2. But there's no off-ramp allowing the people to go to drop off the people.
I think also, Mandilakhe, you must also understand our hands are so tight when it comes to the customers or the passengers. For instance, we are talking about the new development. How are you going to obtain the operating license if you are not operating there? Because what is happening in the Western Cape, there is a development and there is a people that are working there, are coming from Nyanga, Khayelitsha, all over the place. And now, according to my own understanding, before you receive a permit, you need to operate to that particular area for 180 days, which means it's 6 months. What does that mean? The traffic must impound your vehicle all these 6 months that you are operating there. Mind you, there are people that are working there and they demand a transport. We cannot just say, no, our hands are tied, we cannot go there. Those are the rules that are oppressing the taxi industry at the same time. We must understand that because really now you'll need to wait for a permit for over 6 months and you don't even know how Golden Arrow get the permit because now there is a new route from Golden Arrow that is coming from Khayelitsha straight to N2 to Cape Town and you really don't know how does Golden Arrow receive that permit. It is totally unfair even from now on. If you need a permit for PRE, you must go to queue to that line. There's a long line there. You won't see any bus from Golden Arrow, but they are talking about a public transport. Golden Arrow is also a public transport, but the treatment of Golden Arrow is not the same of the treatment of the taxi industry. Why it is so? It is only happening in the Western Cape because to other provinces, if you need a permit, you just apply the permit, then you go to the post office and get the permit. Why it is not happening here in the Western Cape? Because really now you are talking about the mall, the new mall. There is a people that are going to work there, but you as a taxi industry, you have to suffer for the 6 months. They must impound your vehicle. And we have no choice. We need to take the people there.
Okay. We have Bongani Matenjwa. Why does CATA and CODETA exist as separate entities?
Why they don't match?
Yeah.
I didn't see the last part of it.
They say we must merge them to a single organization.
Wouldn't it be more efficient to merge them into a single organization? Wouldn't it be?
It was in 1990, if you remember. 1990, I was present.
It was.
When they were in Webster and Lagunya.
Okay.
Then the government formed CODETA. But again, there was a problem. And who made the problem? It was Mr. Ramatlakane, who was then a minister of transport at that particular time. He tried to divide the taxi industry. It's where the problem started. That is why I said, Mandilakhe, we cannot run away from the fact that even the government, it is also involved to ensure that the taxi industry are fighting.
Yeah. I think Burkanya have covered. It just took the word out of my mouth. That was existing before, but because of the internal issues that happened that time in 1999 when CODETA was formed, it led to the separation of CATA or formation of CATA. So it was there before. It was there before. So the interference of externals led into this situation that we find ourselves in now.
I think people just want to see peace and harmony.
Of course.
You know, and I will say this, we're still traumatized from the 2021 killings.
Yes.
You know, we are still, you know, August 3rd, was it August 3rd until infinity, when there was that huge strike. So we are very traumatized.
Of course.
And what we want to see moving forward is that CODETA and CATA coexisting, you know, in the same taxi rank, in the same space, same routes, you know, without all these killings. You know, there's been a lot of people that were killed, you know, over these years, from even before 1990, you know, I mean, there's been a lot of shootings, you know, when it comes to the taxis or the taxi industry. So all we want is to know that there will be some form of agreement moving forward. And I mean, like I said, you know, today, which is, we didn't hear of any incidents happening, and we're very happy about that, you know, so we would like to continue in that way, you know. So I think we're gonna wrap it up, or do you want to, Skibi?
Yep.
Okay, let's just hear parting words from you, and then we're gonna hear parting words from you also.
I think you did the right way. In our culture, you cannot speak before your senior. So you were right to start with me, and then you can close it. What is the most important here? What is I'm thankful, I'm grateful for, is for you, Mandilakhe, and your team to make sure that CATA and CODETA sit around the table, unpack their feeling or the things that are happening that are affecting the industry and the community, province, nation as a whole. Because this thing is not only ending here in Western Cape, it's also showing the bad image of the industry that is running in Western Cape between these two mother bodies, meaning CATA and CODETA. And the most important thing as we speak, we just want to say condolences to the people who lost their loved ones, who lost their breadwinners. And then all we can say, peace in the taxi industry. But this shall pass if CATA and CODETA sit around the table with the help of the government. This shall pass. Thank you.
You see, Mandilakhe, there's a way of saying that one death is too many. I think we need to stop really this senseless killing, because at the end of the day, you must understand those drivers that are no longer there today. Those are the fathers of the families. Now, their families are suffering because of the senseless killing that is happening in our taxi industry. And as I said earlier on, when you interviewed those two mother bodies, CATA and CODETA, you can see this is a small thing which I think they can resolve it, even during the day or during the night. They cannot even take 2 or 4 hours to resolve this. But I believe that we need to appeal to our leaders to sit down and resolve that, because at the end of the day, we don't want to see this bloodshed again, because really, it is affecting the taxi industry, it is affecting our community, it is affecting the family as well. So really, this must be stopped, but hopefully those leaders from both sides, they will sit down and come up with a solution. Thank you.
Well, there you have it. We had CATA and CODETA telling us about what the problem is and where it started and when it started. So we are hoping that there will be peace and that commuters will be safe, and also their drivers, because they did emphasize that these drivers that were killed, they were fathers, you know, they had children that were left behind with nothing. So thank you so much for joining us on our podcast. And I would actually like to give a shout out to Nantal, my producer, who's been behind, the scenes. And also do follow us on YouTube, Cape Conscious Media. That is where you will find this podcast. So if you miss it or if you want to rewatch it, you can go onto YouTube. Thank you very much and have a good evening.
Thank you, Mandilakhe.